Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and this is the Breaking Free Show. And I am so happy to see you all. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been here because it was a holiday, but we're back now and we're raring to go. I hope all of you are doing well, and I thank you for being here because I know your time is precious. And because of that, I want to honor it always with the greatest, the best, the most up to date information, things that will empower us to move on, ways that we can take those steps forward in anything that we do with our lives. And before I introduce to you my guest for the day, I want to say hi to Amnon.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
It's been hairy. My mother-in-law has been very ill for several months, and it's been touch and go. And I, for the last year, have been working on a training to give to a Pitt Community Business Center, part of the community college in North Carolina, and it was scheduled for last Thursday and Friday. And I've been working on it for close to a year. And Wednesday, my mother-in-law passed away. Things work out crazy.
She's in a better
She's in a
place,
better place.
and
Yes,
she's probably a lot happier now that you guys are not suffering,
yes, I would
and
imagine.
she's
So,
not suffering.
oh no,
So it's good.
she was just to the end. She was an amazing woman, full of dignity and grace. And just let me tell you also, a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of months ago, she said, "I want to give you something," and she was giving away each of her precious belongings one by one to the person that she thought would enjoy it. And so she said to me, "I want to give you something," and I said, "Well, give something to your daughters first, because she has four of them." So then a couple of weeks later, she said to me, "Go to my top drawer on the right, blah, blah, blah." I did. She said, "You see that gold thing in there?" I said, "Yes." It was on a black chain. And she said, "That belonged to my mother. She made it into a necklace, and it was the top of her cigarette case." She said, "Do you like it?" I said, "I love it." She said, "You're the only one that would wear it." And I said, "I'm going to wear it just with such honor." And everywhere I go, I have to tell you all, I get compliments. People stop me in restaurants. I did the training last week, and people came over to me and said, "What is that around your neck? It's beautiful." So I'm wearing it today. After the show, we have her wake, and tomorrow's the funeral. So I'm wearing it. So you're doing good?
Doing just fine.
Perfect. Wonderful. So here we go on with the show. So I love to bring people on our show that got it going on, because I know that this show is an outlet for us to share with you information, whether it's emotional, personal, family, business, whatever it is, that empowers us, inspires us to do something maybe we didn't think we could, didn't know we should, whatever it is. And today's guest is going to do just that. So go get a piece of paper and a pencil, or turn your recorder on, because you're going to want to hear some things that are going to move you to do certain things with social media. So let me introduce my guest to you today, Alice Fuller. Hello.
Hi, hi, hi.
Hi, hi, hi to you. You doing good?
I'm blessed. I'm a blessed individual.
There you go. There you go. That's a good thing, right? So yes,
Yes.
I feel like I'm a blessed individual as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great to be with you today. So tell everybody who you are.
Okay. Again, I am Alice Fuller, principal consultant at Sheer Social. Sheer Social is my social media marketing business, but I mostly focus on consulting and training. I still do management of people's profiles and businesses profiles too, but primarily it's consulting and training. So that's what I do mostly.
And you training in social media.
Training and social media.
And one of the things we talked about today is that we want to talk about is that we're not too old or too out of it to learn,
Mm-hmm.
because this world of social media is happening so fast.
Yes.
And it can be. We were just talking before we went live about some things, and things are coming very quickly. They're leaving quickly. They're coming quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to know where to go, what to do, and where you are best suited. So that's going to be a lot of what we talk about today. And also, feel free anytime during the show to call us at 919-518-9773. If you have a question, you have a comment, you just want to chat with Alice, that's great. You can also connect with us on computers two, that's the number two, K Voice on Skype, and you'll come in live. And then we have a chat that you're more than welcome to partake in. You can just put your number in, your name in, excuse me, and ask us questions in there. So, where should we start?
We could start literally with this thought. It's more or less a myth, and it even affects people who are not so quote unquote old. Because I don't consider myself old, older, yes, but who isn't older? But
Older than someone.
yeah, I'm older. Everybody's older than somebody. But there's this concept of this thought that because you're not in your 20s anymore, that social media is not relevant to you, or you're not in your 30s anymore. If you're pushing 40, then social media is passing you by. When in fact that's really not true. It's really, really, really not true. It really comes down to a mindset. Indeed, if you want to think that way about yourself, then yes, then social media is passing you by. But the reality of it is, depending on how you feel about technology, depending on how you feel about your own capacity to learn new things, social media is right now. It's a great kind of opportunity to kind of dive in and find your niche, find your place, no matter what your age is, because I guarantee you can find your audience.
And I guess it's also about narrowing down what is it you want to do with social media. It's not just a place to sell a book. It's also for expanding your network, finding old friends, and I'm sure Alice can expand on that as well. But
Mhm.
there's something for all of us to play with.
Mhm.
We can enjoy recipes, we can enjoy artwork. I mean, that's all part of getting involved in social media.
True, true, true. Very true. It's not, if you want to use social media as a hobby, then that's great. You can do that. If you want to use social media for business, of course you can do that. If you want to do a combination of the two, if you just want to have fun with it, anything you want to do in social media is open right now. It's a wonderful time to just dive in, figure things out, whether you like it, whether you don't like it. The beautiful part about it is if you don't like one platform, we'll try another one. The mindset should be and even if you're doing it for business, test and continue testing until you find that your sweet spot in social media. That's what I try to tell all of my clients. Everything is not going to happen overnight. Some things will work, some things will not work, but you won't know until you know.
So where do you start?
Generally, if you're doing it for business, then I tell my clients to start where your audience already is. And the best way to figure that out is just listen. Most of us jump uh, into social media head first, sell, 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 sell. I got to make this money. I got to make this money. But what people don't understand is if you're going to do social media correctly, one of the first things you want to do is listen. Just listen. Listen to where the conversations are taking place around your business. Google your name. Find out what people are having a conversation about your business. Specifically your business, not just your industry, but your business, because we all know now people feel empowered to talk about your business now, especially if they get bad customer service.
When you say Google your name and
Mhm.
listen to what people are talking about, what does one have to do with the other?
Okay. So right now when we start talking about using social media is really tied to SEO. Say if you don't have a website, you don't have a strong web presence, but you do have a Facebook profile, you do have a LinkedIn profile. When people are Googling your name, they're Googling your business, your website won't come up. However, your LinkedIn and Facebook and or Twitter will. So that's what I mean by Google. Start with Google first, and then you can start with the social platform.
So when you see yourself come up, what else? What will you be looking for when you see yourself come up?
Mentions of your name, of your business, specifically if you're doing it for business, of your business name. Is the sentiment good or bad? Because generally, like on sites like Yelp and some of the business industry review sites, you want to see what people are saying about your business. You could be losing business because you got a bad review that's been sitting there for 2 years and nothing has been said to counteract what the negative.
So you're listening for what people are saying about you,
Mhm.
and then
And,
you
and now
go ahead.
I tell you that can be a little scary.
Yeah, yeah.
Admittedly, that can be a little scary, but wouldn't you rather know what people are saying about your business so that you can either own up to the mistakes you've made and correct them, or you can be proactive as opposed to just being reactive.
And suppose you don't see anything that people are saying about you,
Well, if you're not being mentioned in social media, that's not necessarily a bad
but it
thing.
isn't a good thing.
I wouldn't. I would say it's something that you're not in the hubbub of conversation. You want to have some conversation around your business, even if it's word of mouth, organically. Like before the internet, everybody was doing maybe email or old school phone calls, which is great. But the beautiful thing about social media is now you can measure those conversations a little bit better.
So, like, I'm not on Yelp.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should be, but I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook.
Yes.
I've dabbled in Blab a little.
Uh-huh.
I've dabbled in Google Plus a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see, when I Google my name, I don't see a conversation about myself.
Well, that might be good. That might be good. If you're not seeing any negativity about yourself, that's good. But if you should, just because you don't see it now does not mean it couldn't happen in the future. So I would not have that mindset of, oh, well, I Googled myself last year.
Oh, yeah, right.
Things can happen so quickly.
Absolutely. And I love the other thing that Alice is saying about which I didn't realize this is what she meant until she said it.
Mhm.
When you go and you are observing certain social media sites, observe like a fly on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Observe what people are talking about. What kinds of pictures are they sharing? Are they engaging the way you would feel comfortable engaging?
Yes.
That's the kind of listening, so that if they're speaking your language, if they're sharing the kinds of things you're interested in, then you have some idea of, oh yeah, this is in my wheelhouse. This is what I'm interested in. This is a place that I'd like to play.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not, you move on to some other place.
Then the other part about that helps you create content, because once you know what people are talking about, you don't get into creating content for content's sake. And that's something that it's really easy to do. Oh, I want to start a blog. Okay, that's great that you want to start a blog, but are you creating content that people want to read? How are you going to know whether people want to read your blog? Well, if there's a conversation on Facebook, if it's trending on Twitter, if there is an online forum, because don't think the online forums still don't exist, they do. If there's an online forum talking about it, when you Google it and you get all of this result from blog posts to tweets to everything else, that lets you know people are talking about it. Now, if nobody is talking about it, maybe you shouldn't write that blog post. 'Cause-
So see, your advice would be to write if we're talking about, let's say, a blog. There's so many things we're going to talk about. We're
Uh-huh.
probably going to go back and forth, and it might make you spin, but just bear with it. So if you're interested in writing a blog, for instance, so writing something about something trending or something in the news is okay. You're not, going up against
the grain.
or going with too many things that you won't show up.
No. Ideally, what you'd want to do is do that, what we call social listening first. Do the social listening first. But then, after you do the social listening, find out what people are complaining, especially as a business. Find out what those complaints are. Do you have the solution? If you are just doing it as a hobby, then once again, find out what people are talking about, what the sentiment around that conversation is. Is it negative? Is it positive? Are people beginning to suggest how-tos and tips and things of that nature? So when you start looking at how much volume is there around a certain topic or a certain issue, that lets you know this is what people want to hear. This is what people want to talk about right now. Some things can be timely, and of course, there's some things you want to do that are timeless, and especially as a blogger, because you don't have to necessarily be blogging every week. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But you want to create some evergreen content, something that's always going to get you traffic.
So for those of you that are listening, I know that Alice mentioned SEO. You may not know what SEO is.
Mhm.
So if you could just
Yeah.
share a little ditty about that.
Very simply put, search engine optimization is what SEO is. And the more content you put out there in the world, especially content that's centered around a keyword phrase or a keyword in general, not just a phrase, the more you incorporate or integrate that keyword into your content, the more likelihood that your blog post, your video, and things of that nature will appear in a Google search result.
Perfect.
Mhm.
So now, look, a lot of this could sound like, oh, a lot of details. And if you're just getting started, don't worry about any of this. Alice is going to give you a recipe for where you start. And then as you get into it, maybe all you want to do is be on Facebook and, talk to your friends and find, former classmates. That's fine.
Mhm.
Maybe you just want to be, emailing people. That's fine. Maybe is fine. You do not have to do it all to do it successfully. But as you do it, you might find, oh, I like this or I don't like that. That's what we're talking about. And we're giving you some, kind of, little bits of detail that can help your journey into it a little bit easier.
It's funny to me because it seems like every brand, every business is chasing millennials. Now, millennials, this is no hateration. I can't, I'm not hating on you for when you came into the world. I'm really not. However, because people have lived longer than you, they still have something of value to share. So it's not about well, one reason too why brands and businesses are chasing millennials is just a statistical fact. There are going to be more millennials in the world than everybody else. We get that. Okay, cool. We get that.
Well, it makes sense.
It makes
I mean,
sense.
The older you get, the less, people are die.
Yeah.
Right?
So demographically, there are going to be more millennials out there in the world to hire, and to buy. So that's why so many companies are chasing the millennials. But at the end of the day, if you are at that age where you're ready to retire, you're at that age where you've worked long enough, or you're in that kind of murky phase where you're ready to transition into something else. I've been doing this for 20 years. Now I'm ready to do something else. The reality of it is you have experience to share. And there's somebody out there, I promise you, there is somebody out there who can learn from that experience that you have to share. I guarantee you. That's why YouTube is so popular. Because there's people there sharing how to do things, how to. And it's not just how to put gas in your car, which is great for me, although I pay a professional to do it. But, I just like to be enlightened.
Right. I don't even want to ask that question.
No. But there's plenty of YouTube videos, and YouTube is one of those platforms that every demographic is watching. It's not Facebook centric. It's not Snapchat. It's not Twitter. Every demographic is watching YouTube videos.
That's so true because my husband is one of the people who do not go on Facebook. He's not on anything. I mean, he doesn't even like Google.
Uh-huh.
But every now and then
He'll watch
he'll
you watch
look for a
YouTube.
video on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That's so interesting. I never gave that any thought.
Yeah, and think about it too. Google is the number one search engine. So we don't say we're going to Bing it. We don't say we're going to Yahoo search it. We say we're going to Google it. Or better yet, are you Googleable? That's not a word. That's a word I use, but I can't copyright it.
Yeah.
So I can't say I'm the first to use it. However, that said, with Google being the number one search engine, number two search engine is YouTube. Who owns YouTube? Google.
Right.
So, and not to mention right now in social media, it really is this big focus to do more and more video. It's going to get to the point, if you notice, we're going to get to the point where the online is giving real competition to traditional television. I mean, real competition to traditional television. And according to YouTube statistics, people are watching more YouTube video than they are watching regular television.
So there are regular shows on YouTube that are not on mainstream media, that are just on YouTube. Sitcoms and dramas
Yep.
and,
Webisodes.
episodes. And also, I mean, this may not be part of what we're talking, but even Netflix. I mean, not even Netflix, but Netflix. Oh my God. Frankie and Grace. Grace and Frank. What a great show!
I love that show.
Loved the show, and it's on Netflix and no commercials. I mean, Rachel,
Well,
Only online.
only
online.
online.
But here's where the paradigm shift is occurring, because at first it was, oh, that's just some online videos. They're just old movies. Who cares? But then once these entities began creating their own content, and now they're getting awards, they're getting Emmy awards, they're getting Oscars, and this is like the entertainment industry is like, hold up,
And this is your
this is my background.
This is your background. Yeah.
Yeah, so the industry is like, well, wait a minute. This was something that was all about us for so long. And now new categories are being created because even Kevin Spacey with House of Cards, prime example. Here's 6 episodes of a show in the can, done. I go to CBS, we don't think so. I go to NBC, we don't think so. Maybe. But you know what? Great what you have there. Could you produce a pilot? A pilot? I've got 6 episodes right here. Why would I? Hey, I don't need to do a pilot. Okay, Netflix comes knocking. You know what, Kevin? We got you. We'll air it. And not only will we air it, we'll promote it. We'll put our Netflix branding on it and everything. And next thing you know, he's got one of the most popular shows on Netflix. And that whole term binge watching, you notice that didn't come about till Netflix.
Oh yeah, and we do,
Tra-
and yeah, get
Traditional
you can't do it.
TV.
Yeah.
No, well, you can,
You still can
but
do traditional.
traditional TV and radio did not and are not adapting.
Yeah, they're slow.
They are. I
slow
mean,
to
pilot. I mean, there's no such thing.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
here it's there.
It's there, and
Yeah.
they and it
You know,
is
I don't
what
want to
is-
taste that meat. Here's the
Right.
whole sandwich already. You know, come
Right.
on.
Right.
And they are not understanding it, and they are losing.
They're losing, but slowly but surely they will have to evolve.
They
because
will.
They
Yeah.
understand this is the shift, the paradigm shift that the culture and the audience is going toward.
When it hurts enough.
Well, yeah, when money.
So what will they do? Tell me what will they do this? I mean, they'll have them in the can. They'll run them. You get them whenever you want them.
Well, I think what will happen is some of the traditional means of doing television are not just going to suddenly go away. That's just not going to happen.
No.
However, they will have to adapt the system because at the end of the day, they're there to give us content
And us
and the
giving them
reality of it
money.
is basically the real reason it's called show business for a reason. They're there so the advertisers can have something to attach
Right.
themselves to, thus to reach us to make us buy. Okay, so that said, if we are at that point in our society right now we're in, I don't want to buy a whole cable package and get 50 channels when I only watch 3. I just want 3 channels. Can I a la carte it? No, you have to get the whole bundle. I don't need the whole bundle.
They used to do the same thing to me when I used to advertise when I owned a furniture store.
Mm-hmm.
If I only wanted to advertise on 1 or 2 channels, I couldn't do that unless I took everything,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't always work.
Which is why too you'll understand now even cable is like, okay, this online thing is crucial because it used to be maybe 3 years ago you could watch content online and see it free. It's like, okay, everybody is moving to the online. Okay, we'll just make it available. But now when you go to watch something online, what's the first thing they ask you to do? Put in your cable subscription.
Yeah.
We're not going to give it away to you free
Right.
anymore. Now you have to have cable almost in order to see it, unless you know some of those sites,
Yeah.
which should remain nameless.
Why?
Shameless.
Why do they? Can't we name them? We can do anything we want on
you,
here.
You can name them, but Alice Fuller won't be naming them.
I'm not. Can you name them?
There's no. I mean,
So-
shameless is what it is.
Okay,
Not
okay.
nameless.
It's called Google. Google is your
Google.
friend. Just Google it. Just Google it. And so, in that sense, which is basically how Sheer Social got started to begin with.
And that's the name of Alice's company, by the way.
I was working at Python Productions, which produced House Hunters and House Hunters International. And as you work in the industry, you know your gig ends. It always is always going to end. It's like 6 months. You know, it could last years, but you never know. So I knew because the industry was focusing on, well, how are we going to monetize this content online? We got this whole genre of content called transmedia storytelling. How do we take something from television and tell it on a different platform and continue the story? So I'm like, you know what? I got to figure this thing out. Not only that, as I was applying for work, I said, look, I've got to show E why I need to be hired. I don't know why E will not hire me. I can write, I can shoot, I can edit, I'm a one-woman show. Why? So what I decided was, you know what? If I start a blog and show these people what I can do, maybe I can get a job. But what happened was I started writing and producing video because when people started entertainment blogs,
How
eons
long ago
ago,
was this?
it's about 7 years ago now, 7, 8 years ago. Generally, when people started entertainment blogs, then it was get the press release and regurgitate the press release.
Mhm.
I wanted to do something different because my background is TV. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do video. I mean, yeah, I'm going to get the press release too, but I want to add video to it. And I want to add my own personal spin to it. And what happened was I would go to events and cover them. Some I was invited to, some I was not. There are advantages to being petite because people have a tendency to overlook you. So me and my petite self would go to places I was not invited to. However, I would cover it, do video with my little 35. I had a little digital camera. It was painful how small that thing was. But nonetheless, because of my background, I knew how to shoot things at an angle. They didn't know that I didn't have the big cameras. So I would shoot the video, I would write it, send it out to the publicist, and before you know it, publicists began inviting me to cover things. And then that led to, well, would you write for my celebrity? He needs a blog, but he don't have time to write. Could you ghostwrite for my celebrity? Sure, not a problem. Not a problem.
So did it work?
It worked. And matter of fact, my first professional client blogging was Heineken.
All
I'm
on
not-
your own.
All on my own. I approached them because at that particular time I had built up the content enough on that blog to say you can see what I can do. Now it just didn't matter, and I have an audience. Now imagine if you hired a little person like me who has already the audience that you're trying to reach, and I can be almost like your little ambassador.
So your message is about doing things like that. What's your overall message?
My overall message is don't be afraid of the tech. The tech is just a tool. It's just like a hammer, it's just like a nail. It is a tool. Just like with everything else, the technology will evolve. That indeed is true. But the core of it is your messaging. People will hop on YouTube to see a person. They're not hopping on YouTube for YouTube.
So even this, I saw the news with this little girl, and where is she, in Syria or somewhere, where she's actually videotaping and sending the news back.
That's
Who
we
is
call
that?
we call that citizen journalism.
Yeah, a little. I mean, she must be 12 or 13 years old, and she's been doing it for a long time, and she is doing a great job. I mean, it's fascinating to watch this little kid share information, and she's getting information that other people aren't getting.
Yes. The beauty, and that's the other beautiful part about social media, and that's especially true with Twitter and some of the live streaming tools now, the Periscopes, the Facebook Lives. The world has become a smaller place. So when certain world events occur, it used to be we would wait for CNN to confirm it. Now I go to Twitter and I search for the hashtag.
Oh, so that's what you do? Oh,
Literally,
yeah, wow.
I love Twitter. Twitter is my news, and it's quiet. It's quiet.
That's so interesting because when you look at it from the fly on the wall, when you first go to look at it, it doesn't seem quiet. It's because it's constantly moving. But you say it's quiet.
It's quiet. I mean, technically, the sound is down, and I can read the headlines. If I want to click through to the article, I can. If I want to watch the video, I can. But I choose what comes into my world.
Interesting.
One of the statistics that we talked about yesterday on the show, 62% of Americans are getting their news now
Through social media.
from social media versus traditional.
And what's
And
interesting
it's fast.
Well, what's interesting about that now is too, now even the traditional news incorporates social
Right.
media
Yes,
into
they
into the
do.
broadcast.
Exactly. You will see their tweeting or their
They're just
tweets
having
up
a
there.
hard time letting go of what they're used to.
Well, it's going to be interesting to watch how they let go and what they let go into.
Well, see that's where the age thing comes into too, because when you want something authentic and you want it confirmed, I'm more willing to trust somebody who's a veteran journalist
Right.
on Twitter
Right.
than I am the 18, 12-year-old, 13-year-old. Now, I respect the fact that you're right next to the fire
Yeah.
on Periscope. I respect that, and you're showing me everything. But I'm to that age when somebody who's a little older can give me more perspective on the fire. And so that's where I wish more people would get out of this mindset where I'm too old. It's
Well,
passed me by. No, it hasn't.
or getting out of the mindset of it's bringing us further apart than it
Mm-hmm.
is closer together.
Yeah.
Because you made a point of saying it's making the world smaller,
Mm-hmm.
and I truly believe that, and I think we should talk about that.
Okay. I have, you have friends. I mean, we've been throwing around the word friends loosely for generations. That is nothing new. But at the end of the day, I'm meeting new people on a platform, and we are sharing these conversations around something we are all passionate about. And so what happens is you have a meeting place now that you didn't have before. It's like, oh, I'll see you on Blab every Thursday at 10 o'clock, or I'll see you on Facebook, or I'll see you in the online forum, because now we have a place. And even though you're in Syria and I'm in Alabama and I'm in California and I'm in North Carolina, we now have a meeting place. And the beautiful part about it is you can cultivate relationships that then can turn into offline relationships. Because then it's like, well, hey, I want to visit Syria. Alice, we got you. We've been talking online for years now, or months, or however. And if you want to come here, just shoot us an email. You decide how much transparency and how authentic you want to be online with people. So in that instance, yes, it does bring people together. Now, for those people who argue that it's bringing us apart, I understand that mindset, because now you have an opportunity just to sit up and kind of, you don't have to go out for stuff. I don't have to go to the mall. I can order everything right here. Or for people who go to church, I don't have to go to church. I can stream it. But what about the fellowship? You don't want a fellowship? Well, it's not that I don't want the fellowship. I just want to sleep longer. I can fellowship next Sunday, but this Sunday I just want to turn over. But I still want to hear my sermon, and better yet, I can still donate, send in a tithe or whatever it is via mobile phone or the website. Have I missed anything outside of? And then, technically, the fellowship is not missed because many churches have a chat. They have an element wherein the online audience is chatting amongst itself. So technically, I'm still fellowshipping, just not in person.
Face to face.
It's just not face to face. But there will come a time, generally speaking, when I do want to have that face to face. And thus, I can leave the confines of my couch or my bedroom and then head out to meet people.
Yeah, it's looking at it differently when we say face to face, because I can face to face with my children and not having seen them, for a couple of days, but we can FaceTime and I can see them. I can see my grandsons.
But I
it's
can
a beautiful thing.
But I can hear somebody saying, "But you can't hug them."
But I can kiss them.
I can hear somebody
well-
say, "It's not the same." Well, no, it's not the same. But it's the next best thing if you can't.
Yeah, and how often can you literally, really, truly see people that you love face to face on a regular basis?
Yeah, and the reality of it is, and I hate to say it, but if we were really honest with each other, there are plenty of families who see each other face to face all the time and have nothing to say to each other.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, real. Well, it's the truth.
It's just like, I wish you would stop coming to the family
Yeah,
reunion.
and you know
I
what?
wish you would Skype in.
I think it's made. I think my grandsons in particular. I think we've gotten closer because any day at night, they can say to their mothers, "I want to talk to grandma. I want to see grandma," and they could FaceTime me. I could be in bed. They could be getting ready to go to bed, and we have beautiful moments of love.
Yeah.
In those
moments.
in those moments, and I can do that with friends who are not here. I think it's a wonderful thing. I think it's
wonderful
bringing
thing.
us all closer if we want to look at it that way.
If you choose the perspective you want to have.
Right.
So if you want to look at it as, it's going to be a non-digital day. We're going to turn off the phones, turn off the computers, and just sit face to face, have dinner. Okay, that's great. That's a wonderful thing. I think there needs to be a balance. I think that's the problem. For some people, there is no balance.
Right. And I also think when we look at, I think we're judging this based on maybe looking at our children people will look at their children and they're constantly doing
Yeah.
this, or people are sitting at the table. I've seen it myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched people in one room being together and everybody's like doing this or checking their emails. Yeah, that's something. What
Yeah.
do you what do you think about that?
I think because it becomes habitual to a degree, and
Because
when,
it's great connecting.
yeah. But technically, and once again, if we were honest with each other, if you're on a date and he doesn't put down his phone
That tells you
to talk to
something.
you,
Yes.
that's nonverbal communication.
Yes.
That maybe there should not be a second. Maybe you shouldn't order dessert.
That's true. Well, that is, you know what? That is very true. And there's nothing wrong with telling your children to put their phones down.
Yeah, and so if you have to remind someone to put their phone down at that moment, maybe you are not the most interesting thing in the room to that individual.
Right.
So if we're honest,
Right.
but in many cases we do things out of habit because we spend the majority of the day on some device. If it's not a mobile phone, it's the office phone. We're on some device throughout the majority of the day. And for those people who want to always, we're like sponges, some of us. We always want to be connected. We don't want to miss anything. We're so afraid, that fear of missing out. FOMO, fear of missing out, hashtag. Because we so fear missing a tidbit of information or getting that email or seeing some celebrity's tweet, if you're into that, then we stay connected. But I think once you get a little older and you realize you can put things in perspective, it's just like, okay, all right, so you missed that particular email. Did life come to an end? Or as the guy was saying, hangover, did you die? I mean, in some instances, yes, you do have to stay connected. But in many instances, it's okay not to be that connected. Hell, think about it. Prince didn't have a cell phone. It was pretty much known, hey, you can't, if I wanted to be that connected, I would be that
So
connected.
right. So we have choices.
And we have choices.
It's bringing in all, it's bringing more good than it isn't.
I think so.
We just have to gauge ourselves. We have to make choices. It's no different than you have a refrigerator and it's full of food. Do you go to eat every 5 minutes or not? It's your choice.
Yeah. And it's interesting to me how people want to blame social media for the world's problems, as if those problems did not exist
Exactly.
before social media came into
Exactly.
play.
Exactly.
So for those people who say, oh, well, if it hadn't been for social media, my little girl, da 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 da. My question is, well, would you blame the hammer for hitting a nail? Would you?
No.
Okay, thank you. So the question is, and as a parent, now mind you, I don't have any kids. I'll be the first to admit it. I mean, there's proof that I don't have any kids, so you might as well admit it. The reality of it is, in many instances, before there was social media, everybody was complaining about texting.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, it was gaming. Then before that, I don't know
it's
what
gonna
it
be
was.
something.
So it's always going to be something we're complaining about, wherein, it is the new evil.
But and we have some questions on the
Okay.
chat that I want to get to.
All right.
But it's neutralized. It's given all of us equal footing, so to speak.
Mhm.
We
Leveling
all,
the field.
leveling,
Leveling
and
the
I think
field.
that's and as far as I'm concerned, as far as breaking free, that is part of the name of the game.
Mhm.
It has given everybody, all of you, an opportunity to be an author, be a speaker,
Be a
be a
filmmaker.
singer, be a writer, be a blogger, be a
Mhm.
talker, be a show host, be a guest, be in everything you want to be, a
Mhm.
great cook, whatever you want to be. It has leveled the playing field. And as far as I'm concerned, that is a very good thing when we use it in a good way.
It's very empowering. It's a very
Yeah.
empowering thing.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
funny thing about it is, I guarantee you, somewhere in Hollywood and New York and those entertainment hubbubs, they are scouring YouTube right now for the next best thing. Because the reality of it is, people are not wasting money on shows like they used to. So they want
And on the actors and the actresses,
Mhm.
they get me cheap.
Yeah.
If you're looking at me right now, you get me much cheaper than you can Oprah, I promise. So just call me, we can make a deal.
Exactly. So, and then, but what they want to see is, okay, oh, here's somebody on YouTube. They have an audience, which means they have potential, which means we may not have to spend as much marketing dollar. And if we do add our
That's a good
marketing
thing.
dollars, because they already have an audience, it'll just expand it.
So if you like me, share it so my audience grows, so somebody famous will notice me.
Well, what's even funnier, and this is something that's really kind of becoming maybe a little issue in Hollywood too, is because when you see YouTubers who are young YouTubers in a making it, they got a Crest commercial, and now they're on the red carpet, and it's like I have trained my whole life just to get a regional commercial, YouTube, whatever the product is, and I'm overlooked because they were young and because they have a huge audience on YouTube. So I try to tell my entertainment, my filmmaking audience, it's a great time to be a content creator, but you really have to put the time in. They didn't create that audience overnight just because they were cute and young. Of course, they probably had the time that you don't, and maybe initially they might have had a little bit more resource. But at the end of the day, if you're willing to put in what's needed, you can generate that audience too.
Yeah, and I also think that a lot of times, a lot of the YouTubers that are young, they're fearless.
Oh yeah.
They don't have the same fear holding them back with their idea. If they want to go on and demo makeup, they're going to do it.
Oh yeah.
They're not sitting there going, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, maybe they're just doing it. And so let me just say the phone number if you want to call in 919-518-9773. Sorry, we've been so engaged in this conversation. I forgot to give you the number again. And then computers, that's computers plural, the number 2K voice, and you're welcome to chat with us. Look, there's a couple of questions here, so I want to go over some of them. Mm-hmm. And some of them might be a little bit more, quickies. Mm-hmm. So Nathan says, Alice, as people use social media more and more, won't they want to talk to people more online rather than offline? If the younger age is only a subject to online media, then they are less likely to know the benefits of in-person communication.
To a degree, there might be some element of truth in that, because once again, we are creatures of habit. So the more you do something, the more it becomes, the thing to do. But once again, I think it really depends on the personality of the person. If you have a sincere desire to see people in person, you're going to see people in person. It's not like teenagers stop meeting in groups. That hasn't happened, has it?
No.
Now, as much as
want to take the car and go out on a Saturday night.
Hello. Now, just because they're texting or they're Snapchatting or whatever, that has not stopped teenagers from wanting to have a place to go and place to meet and have fun and do whatever it is teenagers do.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. It has not stopped it at all. Social media has kind of helped them better organize it. When you look at some of the bigger kinds of issues that are happening throughout the world, and it's the young generations that are basically organizing. They're organizing through Facebook. They're organizing through Twitter, but they're meeting in person. So I don't think it will ever get to that point where
it's interesting, and I think that there's a lot of good happening.
Mm-hmm.
We do the not so good sometimes, of course. We hear about that too, but maybe that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe we hear about the children that end up in trouble and things that happen online. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of really good things happening as well. Mm-hmm. So let's focus on the good and let's
but
not
it's
forget.
true.
Yes.
But it's true. If they wanted to talk, they would talk. Mm-hmm. Look at it. He's sitting there typing, and I tell him to come and talk on. No.
We're talking about Nathaniel, our intern, who I
See,
pulled in before.
He wouldn't come to talk
Yes,
on the
he
mic.
would.
No, I asked him.
If I ask you nicely, would you come? Come on over here. Everybody meet Nathaniel. He is our
You can go
aspiring intern who I've pulled on before because he has some really good things to say. And go ahead, say it. Can you see him?
Half of them.
Okay, come on.
Should I come down?
there you go.
Come on. Come
Over
close.
here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Over here?
Yeah.
No, I'm still not.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Go.
Say it.
All right, what am I saying?
Whatever you want to say.
Okay.
Now, and I've used him before because he has great information. So you hear what we're saying. What do you get?
So I guess one of my questions is, like, you say more people use social media and then they go and meet in person. But with that, then they usually text or Skype other people or text or Snapchat other people. when they're in person with other people. So they're already moving on to the next event of meeting in person rather than
they're not present.
right.
Mhm.
And so I guess that's kind of an issue. Like if people were more in person, like they'd put their phone down, and when they're in that in-person interaction, they'd stay in person rather than go on online media. How do you feel about that?
It's very true, but I think at some level, say you're going out and you're going out with friends to a movie at this point, yes, while we're waiting for that movie, people will be doing this. But if you engage me in conversation, and if that conversation is more engaging than what I got going on in this text message, and that's the thing, on some level, we've gotten to the point where whatever's going on our phones is so much more interesting than what's going on in real time. So at some level, we have to figure out, young people and older people, is it more important to you to be present and to engage with what's going on with you right beside you, or are you more interested in what's going on online?
So have we become excitement junkies?
I wouldn't say we're excitement junkies, because I don't think so. I think we've always liked excitement, because if we didn't like excitement, there wouldn't be shows like wouldn't be certain movies.
Yeah, right.
So no,
Right.
I don't think we're.
So there's a
excitement
good reason for a lot of this.
junkies. There's a good reason, and a lot of it is more psychoanalytical than it is.
Right. And it's up to us, and it's up to each of us and parents and, whoever we are, to help our children communicate, to help them learn, so that if we have a kid, teenager, millennial, whoever it is, and they're sitting there texting away, doing what they're doing, and somebody else is there, it's up to this other somebody else is there to help engage this person as a tool, as a strategy, as a technique for this other person as well.
Yeah.
And it's going to, things are going to happen. Things are going to be changing.
Oh yeah, and even as a parent,
Right.
I mean, technically, if you're paying the phone bill and the data plan,
Hello.
it's just like, well, we're at dinner now, and because I do pay this phone bill
Right, you're
and
gonna
I
be
do pay
listening.
this data plan,
Exactly.
I request nicely that you put the phone down. Now, I could demand, because that's my right to do so as a parent. So you got choices.
Absolutely. And I think that's important. I think this is causing us to do things, to make a choice, to
Make a
make a
choice.
stand, to say, put it away, take it out later. I love it. I'd rather say that and say, I love it, but this is not the right time for it. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Nathan.
I'm
Nathaniel.
still arguing
Okay,
with
about
people who
what?
tell me, why don't you text? I said, if I want to talk to somebody, I pick up the phone and I talk. And what's wrong? I mean, if you have to stay and text back and forth for half an hour, you can
Because
probably
his
talk in
senses,
5
yeah.
minutes.
And a lot of times I just pick up the phone because in the pattern of those texts going out, some message gets lost or confused, and I would rather
Lost in translation.
Thank you. I would rather pick it up. Now sometimes it's quick, send an address and immediate thing. You could be done. But a picture. But you have these. It's your choice. If it doesn't work for you in this instance, you don't need to put it down. Don't use it. It works in some and it doesn't work in others. So, Alice,
Yes.
Chris wants to know what is your favorite social media
Oh,
platform?
Twitter. All day, every day. Twitter.
And because
Because? Well, for a couple of reasons. One, like I said, it's news for me, and I like getting I like having that kind of source of news and information, especially when it's always evolving. So news is right there in my timeline, and it's like I said, it's quiet. I don't have it's not like blaring at me. It's not radio. It's not TV. It's just a nice quiet stream of information. And then the other element I like about Twitter is the fact that because when I'm watching my favorite TV shows, this thing called social TV, we're in this thing now. We're in not only do we get our snacks when we watch television, we make sure we have our internet together and our mobile phone. You can do it by computer too, but if I'm watching Scandal, then if I'm going to do popcorn and wine, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably have Doritos and Kool-Aid, but nonetheless. And then, but I also make sure my phone is charged, because For me, that's a community of fans. I don't
And you're
know these
connecting.
people, you know. And well, the other strategy is I'm growing my following. Is my other strategy.
You're building your
I'm
following
building my following
of people
of,
that are of like mind.
people.
Oh, that's really kind of brilliant. So if I'm watching um, Frankie and Grace,
Hmm.
then well, Grace and Frankie. Hello.
I forgot which one.
Well,
which,
anyway,
yeah.
then I would be watching Twitter and I'd be seeing who says it and who,
Well,
what they're commenting about, and they could possibly be people I just want to connect with.
Yes and no, because you can watch Frankie and
Grace.
Grace. I almost said Frankie and Alice. That's a whole nother movie. Um, yeah, you can watch that anytime. The beauty of social TV is, especially with
Oh yes,
sports,
yes, yes. Right, it's right now.
it's right now.
Yes,
It's real
right.
time.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So, and especially with the
That's
Olympics coming
brilliant.
up, oh, trust, there's going to be loads of people on Twitter at the event, all around the world, live tweeting from and about this event, this global event.
Oh, that's really brilliant.
Hmm. So for me, when I'm watching my favorite TV shows, Person of Interest on was it Monday and Tuesday nights. So, like I said, I get my snacks, but more important than my snacks, I make sure the phone is charged, so I can tweet along with my fans, well, along with fellow fans, and I gain a following. There's one guy, a
And why
girl,
is that? And then tell us
guy
why
or
it's,
girl. I don't
okay.
even know what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's a guy or a girl. But we now have this rapport via Twitter, and I know that this individual hates Monday mornings. Just she is not a Monday person, not a morning person. And so because we've established this relationship through a TV show, I will sometimes send him a tweet or her early in the morning and say, "Hi, sunshine. Have a great, glorious day." And
Gotcha.
they'll send the tweet back, "I hate you." But I don't know.
But they have this relationship and they don't know if they're what they are. But
No,
it's
I don't
works.
know. But
But it
that's
doesn't
what
matter.
it doesn't matter because we have this somewhat rapport online, and it doesn't go past that. I mean, I have no desire to meet that individual. I suspect she has no desire to meet me. But when we talk, it's that joke because I know that about him or her, and so we get
Gotcha.
if somebody else were to jump into it, they probably wouldn't get it. But because we met as person of interest fans.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's really brilliant.
Hmm.
Okay, so we have just a little bit of time left, 10 minutes, but it's going. So what do you see as the future? Do you see? Chris was asking. I'd like to know, like, what do you predict?
And while you're at it, you have the lucky numbers too.
No,
I
I do
didn't even
not.
think of that.
I don't even have lucky numbers, not at all. But I think the future of things where social media is concerned, it will become more about video. Hands down. That's why Facebook is gunning for YouTube. That's why Periscope has become so popular. People want authentic, one. Two, they want to live vicariously through other people. And three, it's another way to communicate. I mean, ironically enough, like as much as I love Twitter, every now and then I'll send a video response to somebody. It's the crazy, and to see their response. Somebody will tweet me, and instead of sending a retweet or just a reply back, I'll just do a little video, and I can sometimes see them on the other side, like, wow, she sent a video, and they might send one back. That usually doesn't happen when they send one back, but every now and again it does. So the future of things is going to be more and more video. I hate to say it, but Facebook, I'm not knocking Facebook, but at the end of the day, Facebook is going to get stronger and bigger because Facebook wants us to be on it all day, every day. So social media as a whole will become more like TV, traditional TV. I hate to say it, but from a business standpoint, it will become even more pay to play to get that increased reach to an audience. So as a business, expect that. On a more personal level, where social media is concerned, there's always going to be a new hot thing. Right now, it's all about Snapchat, but 2 years ago, it was all about Instagram.
Is Snapchat something that at any age
Yeah,
Any
but
age.
but the major audience on it right now are teenagers.
Yeah.
Anywhere grown folk are, teenagers don't want to be. I mean, it is what it is. If my mama is on it, I'm not. If my
That's what happened to Facebook.
that's what happened to Facebook. If my auntie is on
Remove
it,
them in MySpace. Well, I don't know what happened to that.
yeah.
But,
If my auntie is on it, my mother is on it, then I don't want to be on that platform.
but you still like Snapchat.
No,
Oh,
no.
you don't?
You know,
Okay.
most of my clients, I'm just good to get them on Twitter. Trying to get them on a Snapchat, it's just like Alice.
Forget it.
Yeah, no.
One of the biggest problems that I see with all these conversions to online
Mm-hmm.
is the thing that you always ask.
How many?
How many people we have here, and why aren't they chatting? Most of these people that come to serious
Mm-hmm.
programs like these are used to television. They're not used to talk back.
No,
The
that
new
would be-
generation wants interaction.
That would be the future.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
so
that would be
right.
the future of things. But once again, that sometimes is an age demographic thing.
Mhm.
If this were an 18 to 29 demographic,
Yeah.
you might get more.
Right.
But when older people like you want my name is going to be on there and my face, they can trace that back to me. Oh no, I'm good to just watch.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Right,
to just
right,
watch.
right.
You know
That's a
what?
very good
Some of the
point.
younger generation, the young generation, should think like this.
They
You
should.
want my face and my name there? No.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
in many
interesting.
instances, one of the other future of things is there will be more and more lawsuits because where Periscope and the live streaming is concerned. I hate to say it, but you have to be really, really, really careful. Now, law is way behind the evolution
Right.
of social media, so the precedents have not even been set yet. But that doesn't mean people stop going to court. Somebody
And
will
try.
somebody
try.
will set that precedent. So that will be somewhat the future of things, wherein there will be probably some body of lawmakers, some body of people that will start putting parameters in place. YouTube right
So
now.
right now,
going through
is it
that.
is it good now that we don't have it, or not good that we don't have
I just think. Well, I think right now it's not good nor bad because right now, because it's still evolving. It means I can try something. You're not as fearful,
Right.
but the snapback to that is you can potentially be sued.
There-
So
there's
that notion of we'll just do it and apologize later.
Later.
You might want to slow your roll on that kind of thinking.
Sure.
Yeah.
They're talking about kids in the future suing their parents for putting the kids' pictures
Pictures.
on Facebook and other places today.
Yeah, but technically, if I took the picture, I own it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that doesn't stop the kid from later in 10, 20 years saying,
mhm.
who give you permission?
Yeah, you can sue,
know,
but you'll be
yeah.
out of the will.
Yeah, who knows?
Wow.
you sue, but you'll be out of the will.
So Nathan over there says on Facebook you can select who you want to post to by setting up a group of people and excluding others.
That's
Absolutely.
true. You truly
A
can.
private group.
Private
and-
groups, and most people don't. People, I think, are getting to that point too, which is why things like the Snapchats are becoming popular, wherein we want our own privacy. We want to just talk to the people we want to talk to. We don't want to talk to everybody. I just want to talk to the 5 or the 6 or whatever people. But then the other evolution of things is we want to put the message out there and then it disappears. It's not out there forever.
Good luck.
Good luck with that, because even with Snapchat, it's still there on their servers. And if they have to pull it up because you said something real stupid,
They will.
they will.
They will, even after this whole thing with Apple.
Not only that, but even let's say that we're not recording a bit of it,
Mm-hmm.
there are 50,000 people
Who
watching
did
it.
who?
How many of these people
Who-
are snapping this and
Mhm,
snapping
bring
that,
that.
and now
Right.
they have you, and they're going to go
And they
post
know
it,
what
and-
you
and
said.
it's-
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's right.
And then the other, I think where we're getting to the point too, where the police departments, the FBI, the CIA, they're all using social media because people are just dumb enough to either do the crime
Right.
and then to
To
boast
go-
about it
Right.
or put details about it
Yeah.
on social media.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's crazy.
So this has gone by too fast,
Mhm.
and we might just have to ask you to come back again.
Sure.
So we loved having Alice, and I loved having you all out there too, and Amnon, and Nathan over there, but we're at the end. So tell everybody where they can find you. If you have any classes, are you
Okay.
writing a book? Go ahead.
I can be found at sheersocial.com, easy enough. Twitter is Sheer Social, Facebook is Sheer Social. Those are the primary places you can find me. If you want to email me, it is Alice at Sheer Social. That's Alice like Alice in Wonderland, not Alice Cooper, but Alice, Alice, ALICE at sheersocial.com. And for those of you that are local, I do have
Local is Raleigh, North Carolina.
Raleigh, North Carolina. I do have an 8 weeks course in social media coming up at Wake Tech.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's
Wow.
there's a helicopter. I think I might have said something.
Wow.
There's a helicopter
As
flying
long as
over.
it's not black, it's fine.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes. So that's where I can be found.
Okay.
I'm pretty easy to find.
And do you do any online training?
Yeah, most of my training is online.
So for anybody.
For
in the
anybody,
world.
for anybody who's open, and there are some people who say, "Look, Alice, I'm not into that online thing. You're gonna have to come. I got to see you, touch you, feel you, smell you, have that kind of interaction." I do classes too, so that's why the Wake Tech thing is good. But I also do classes on Skype and Google Hangout, and there's another favorite of mine called Appear In, APPE.
And what is that?
Appear In. It's just like Skype.
Okay. Perfect. Well, we'll have to have Alice back. So with that, you all, thank you so much for being here today and enjoying our show with us. I know you did. We're going to have Alice back again. I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will see you very soon, next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, My Life, My Will with Gisela DiCarlo, The Tanya Love Show, Health Then with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Triangle Be Well with Howard Jacobson, Lunch and Learn with Rabbi Yisrael Cutler, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, Current Affairs with Amnon Nissan. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.